between senior officials. I mean, given the fact that they were literally fist bumping each other with emojis, I'm not sure you'd call that deep and thoughtful policy coordination,
Yeah.
but it has been confirmed as legitimate.
Adam, now you, I know, have got a thought on something very current.
Yes, I have. It basically is, whatever you think about what the Trump administration is doing, just remember how incompetent and puerile they are as well. I mean, we've had all sorts of things. We've had pictures of black men, including Colin Powell, and women aviators taken down in the Pentagon, heroes, because of the opposition to DEI. And now we've got a most extraordinary story that Pete Hegseth, the American Secretary of Defense, set up a signal group to discuss the forthcoming attack on the Houthi rebels, the bombing of the Houthi rebels, which happened, and included in the group a senior journalist, Jeffrey Goldberg, who is the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, which is certainly not a pro-Trump publication. And for a number of days, Goldberg thought he was being spoofed. He listened in to all the discussions. This included details of intelligence officers, who he's chosen not to name, of course, because they are still serving, and of military personnel. And lo and behold, the bombing raid happened. So, you know, on Telegram, which is, I don't know it particularly well myself, but I think it's like WhatsApp, it's reckoned to be a bit more secure. Here we've got the top brass of the American government planning a bombing raid on the Houthis, and,
yes.
and they're including journalists in their circle and apparently not noticing.
Okay, I mean, in some ways it's a journalist's dream. It's what you call being really well connected, when the Defence Department is including you in a WhatsApp group or a signal group and saying, look, here's our latest secret plans to bomb an enemy of the United States. I would get more on this now, guys, from Harriet Alexander, who's joined us on the line, our senior US correspondent for the Times. Hello to you, Harriet.
Hi, John. Hello.
Hi, great to hear your voice, Harriet. Tell us more about this. It is, well, it's such an extraordinary story. Take us through it.
Yes, it's astonishing, isn't it? So what happened is that Jeffrey Goldberg, he's a veteran journalist, very well connected, as Adam said. He has been around for a long while, editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. He, on March the 11th, was sent an invite to connect via Signal by Michael Waltz. Somebody said they were Michael Waltz. And as Adam said, I mean, he initially thought that this was probably some elaborate kind of hoax, because he thought there's no way but the real Michael Waltz, who's Donald Trump's national security advisor, would be inviting him to chat on Signal. But he agreed to this response, of course, as you would, hoping that maybe there would be some discussion of Iran or Ukraine. But then several days later, he found himself added to a Signal chat group, which was called Houthi PC Small Group. And the members of this group included J.D. Vance, the vice president, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, of course, CIA director, many others. And they were openly discussing whether or not to launch a series of airstrikes on the Houthis in Yemen.
It's interesting too, I should say, that just on policy, there's a J.D. Vance angle, because when they were preparing for this attack, J.D. Vance said, hey, hang on a minute, why are we helping out the Europeans? They have more trade going through the Gulf than we do. You know, this might send out the wrong signals and the message we want to send to Europe. So, we saw absolutely spelt out the policy argument within the Trump administration.
Well, so, as well as leaking, as it were, a highly secret military attack plan, we learned that high up in the administration, they were worried about doing a favour for Europe, which is the last thing.
Well, and the language. So J.D. Vance says, I just hate bailing Europe out again. And then Pete Hegseth goes on to reassure him, saying, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic. Now, I really hope our politicians read this and next time they consider being extremely polite to the White House administration right now. They think about what is being actually said about them in these closed groups.
Guys, we knew we weren't exactly in the White House's good books or of senior figures. We didn't know, did we, that us, being Europe, presumably including us, we didn't know they absolutely despised us to this extent.
Well, yeah, I mean, don't forget that Britain is involved in a naval operation in the Gulf and has, been targeted by the Houthis.
Yes. Harriet, I mean, what's been the reaction to this now it's come out?
Yeah, I mean it's only just breaking now, really, John. So not a huge amount of reaction so far. I mean, certainly it has been confirmed as authentic by the spokesperson of the National Security Council. I mean, his spin, I think, was quite remarkable, really. I mean, full marks for trying to put a positive spin on this. He said the thread is a demonstration of the deep and thoughtful policy coordination between senior officials. I mean, given the fact that they were literally fist bumping each other with emojis, I'm not sure you'd call that deep and thoughtful policy coordination,
Yeah.
but it has been confirmed as legitimate.
It sounds more like a prank put together in a frat house.
I would just like to expand on Harriet's excellent emoji point. The emojis included, after the bombs have gone off, an American flag followed by some burning fire emojis.
And a fist.
And a fist, great. I mean, it's like a bunch of preteen boys celebrating.
Yeah, but exactly. I mean, red faces at the Pentagon, or are they beyond being embarrassed, Harriet?
Gosh, I mean, yes, I think many people will be unbelievably shocked that this is happening. It's pretty embarrassing, isn't it, that this could be leaked when you think what a scandal it is when someone is seen walking, holding a document that might have something controversial on it, walking down the street. This is actually inviting someone in. And Goldberg, in his article, he says that he left the chat after these March 15th attacks were launched, and he expected that would then trigger some sort of awakening among the members of the group, and they would suddenly realize that he was there and get in touch with him, but he said nothing. It wasn't until he started asking questions, asking them all. He emailed them and said, "Did you know I was there? How does this make you feel? What about the implications for national security?" And that's when the response came.
Oh, my word. Harriet Alexander, what a story. Senior US correspondent for The Times there. Thank you, Harriet.
You know, I've always found about the British, they don't need much help.
In his remarks at the Munich Security Conference, Vice President Vance condemned free speech violations in the UK, particularly. Could you respond? What is your message?
I have an idea. We have the man right here. Come on. Let's go, JD. We're putting you on stage.
Great. Yeah, look, I said what I said, which is that we do have, of course, a special relationship with our friends in the UK and also with some of our European allies. But we also know that there have been infringements on free speech that actually affect not just the British. Of course, what the British do in their own country is up to them, but also affect American technology companies and, by extension, American citizens. So that is something that we'll talk about today at lunch.
We've had free speech for a very, very long time in the United Kingdom, and it will last for a very, very long time. Well, no, I mean, certainly we wouldn't want to reach across US citizens, and we don't, and that's absolutely right. But in relation to free speech in the UK, I'm very proud of our history there.